teams were waiting to see how this vote would go before conducting some business. We know that we're still waiting to hear for sure. The league has maintained they will start free agency as scheduled on Wednesday, which would mean that legal tampering negotiating period would start tomorrow. We're still waiting to hear exactly whether they'll follow through on that or whether there'll be some changes. But in the meantime, business that could get done prior to the start of the year, some of that's been on hold because this deal passing changes the economic calculus for some teams. If the deal had failed, there would have been stricter contract structures imposed on teams in terms of trying to get extensions done. You would not have had an easy time. You see teams every year convert salary to signing bonus to get around the cap. That would have been much harder to do. So I think knowing that the deal has passed will allow some teams to start getting some business done, make some decisions about franchise tags, make some decisions about restructuring and extending contracts. And I think you'll see a little, even if they postpone the start of the league year, you'll see some activity here in the next 24 to 48 hours that was on hold.
What specific moves of business are you looking at to happen soon?
Well, I think, as of now, the franchise tag deadline is still noon Eastern time tomorrow. So we'll see a few more guys. We've already seen 4 or 5 guys franchised in the last couple of days. I think we will see more of that. But I would say some of the big potential contract extensions that we've been waiting on, right? Like, look at the Cowboys. They're trying to get deals done with Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. They were probably waiting to see they were certainly waiting to see how this vote would go before proceeding, maybe finalizing some of those deals. So you might see a deal like Cooper's get done in the next couple of days while they continue to work on Prescott, maybe franchise him in order to keep talking to him. So that kind of stuff. I think you'll start seeing some teams get deals done with their own players that were probably on hold as a result of this.
Dan, what does all this mean for franchise tags and free agency?
If the deal had failed, if it had been rejected by the players, then this would have been the final year of the CBA, the final league year. And there would have been a rule that would have allowed, specific to the final league year, that would have allowed teams to use the franchise tag and the transition tag this year only. Usually you have to pick one or the other if you're going to use any of it. But now, with this deal passing, it's no longer the final league year. There are 11 more years now until the CBA expires. And so it reverts back to the regular rules where you have to pick one. If you're going to franchise a guy, you can't transition a guy. If you're going to transition a guy, you can't franchise a guy. So again, in the case of Dallas, if it had failed, they could have used the franchise tag to hold Dak Prescott in place, the transition tag to hold Amari Cooper in place. They will have to now pick one or the other unless they can get those deals done.
Dan, what did the closeness of the vote say to you?
Well, look, we've been covering this for weeks now, and it's obvious that there's been a lot of rancor and displeasure among certain players with this deal. And the closeness of the vote indicates the split in the NFLPA ranks between players who wanted to pass this deal and players who felt like it wasn't good enough. The 17-game season, which starts in 2021 at the earliest, players thought they weren't getting enough in return for agreeing to that thing that they didn't want to do, to play a 17th game. So there was some thought that if they rejected it and went back to the owners, that they would get some more concessions. The yes voters were in fear that was not the case, and obviously they carried the day, barely, by 60 votes out of 1,978. It passed with 51.5% of the vote. So the Players Union moves forward needing to kind of unify itself, because there's going to be obviously a lot of players that are unhappy with the financial circumstances under which they're now operating for the next 10, 11 years.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.